There are a few severe thunderstorms tonight in the Midwest, and we're also looking at very hot weekend in much of the southern half of the country. Good evening, I'm Kim Perez.
And I'm Dave Schwartz. We are still talking about Danny, the tropical storm, that tropical entity that's now been with us for some 9 days, I believe. Well, it's finally offshore and finally moving away from the country, and we've got the satellite picture to prove it. Check it out. Where is Danny? Well, as we put this into motion, I think you'll be able to tell where that little swirl in the clouds is. It's right out here, of course, to the southeast of Cape Cod. There it is, finally making its last turn, we believe, out into the open waters of the Atlantic. By the way, the Canadian Meteorological Service is keeping a close eye on this too, but as you can see, there's not much in the way of shower activity with it. Just a swirl of clouds, some rain that extends actually in a band back up here to Falmouth. We've got some rain going on. And out on Nantucket Island, some rain. Winds still gusting 30 to 35 miles an hour on the Cape and the islands. But I'll tell you, if I had plans for the weekend on Cape Cod, on there tomorrow, guaranteed. High pressure is going to be moving right back in. Skies have cleared out in New York City, Albany, Hartford, Springfield, and they're headed for the Cape here too. Winds and seas will gradually subside here tomorrow, but then we head further west. Notice this frontal boundary and these clusters of thunderstorm. Well, this batch moved across the Twin Cities earlier today doing this flooding. We had some very heavy rain in the land of 10,000 lakes, and there may have been a few more lakes.
The Weather Channel. No place on Earth has better weather.
Finally, we're able to say goodbye to Tropical Storm Danny. Still a tropical storm, but not affecting the mainland anymore. Tropical Storm Danny, this is the 2 a.m. update. Winds are at 55 miles per hour, so coming down somewhat since the last one. Pressure is still at 994 millibars, though, and it's moving east at 15. So stalled out just to the southeast of Cape Cod, and then started tracking off to the east, and now it's 130 miles east-southeast of Nantucket Island. Tropical storm force winds extend out about 60 miles or so, so we're really seeing the winds die down along the Cape. And that is some good news, although we still do have tropical storm warnings in effect, and these will probably be discontinued in the earlier morning hours from Woods Hole to Chatham, Massachusetts tonight. So just maybe wait another half a day or so to head out to the beaches or just to take a drive along the Cape. Weather-wise, though, it's really starting to improve in that area. Maybe some cloudiness still, but that should change as we see what. It's very hard to even say that this is a tropical system. It just really looks very extratropical to me, but it's really starting to lose all the convection around it, and a lot of dry air is being entrained into it, along with sea surface temperatures in the 60s. And you know tropical systems can't take the 60s. So again, good news, it's tracking off to the east. Maybe some boating interests might have some concern. Otherwise, very quiet in the tropics. We do have an upper level trough here, providing some westerlies, which won't allow any convection to really get organized. It's going to shear the tops of the thunderstorms off. Then we do have some thunderstorms. It looks like an area that moved off of Louisiana. We did earlier have some heavy rainfall in Louisiana around Biloxi River. And again, that cluster moving into the Gulf. High pressure over the area. We'll have to maybe keep an eye on this, but nothing organized at this time. As we see a few thunderstorms off the coast, looks like maybe an old frontal boundary or so here of the Carolinas. We'll have to watch this cluster of thunderstorms also. But it looks like it's starting to fire up a little bit now. Otherwise, again, not much happening with that upper level low, upper level trough over the Caribbean and the western Atlantic. We're not seeing much development here, nor are we looking for it to develop. And here are the waves coming across Africa. And typically about this time of the year, we start to look more and more. And as we get closer to August, we definitely start looking from Africa at the waves coming across. This is what we call Cape Verde season, and water temperatures are well to above average here, in the 80s already. So So we have the water temperatures conducive to development, and we also have the upper level conditions, upper level parameters somewhat conducive, but we're just not seeing anything very organized. We are seeing this cluster here, this wave, we'll keep an eye on as it marches off to the west, but again with that upper level trough in the Caribbean and the western Atlantic, we probably might have a hard time having anything to develop there. Central America, thunderstorms this afternoon, winding down this evening, and along the intertropical convergence zone here in the eastern Pacific, just a lot of thunderstorms, but
Storm Danny. As of early this morning, it has been downgraded to just it's just extratropical. It has lost its tropical characteristics completely and is now just a swirl of low pressure out here just a little east of Georges Bank off the Massachusetts coast and moving east-northeast. Actually, Danny probably became extratropical yesterday as it roamed over the cool waters, but it is now just officially become an extratropical system. So no more advisories on Danny. And in fact, for you folks in southeast New England where it was windy and cool yesterday and rainy, particularly on the Cape and islands, a much improved weather scenario will be coming your way today with decreasing cloud cover, diminishing winds, and an end to the light showers which continue over the Cape near Chatham, westward to about the Cape Cod Canal, and there have been some sprinkles on Nantucket and Martha's Vineyard recently, but improving conditions for you. So if you have beach plans and you had them yesterday and you were kind of concerned about the weather, it really looks like the timing is working out pretty well for the weekend the way we see it. Although thunderstorms may be back on Sunday, as you'll see in the forecast shortly. Let's just review some of the final rain tallies. Like at Nantucket Island yesterday, 4.7 inches of rain. In Atlantic City, your total turned out to be nearly 7 inches of rain, and LaGuardia Field picked up 3.69. Martha's Vineyard, 3.18. Again, if you're just tuning in, Danny is now extra-tropical officially, now well east of the Massachusetts coastline. Elsewhere in the tropics, not a heck of a lot going on, from the Gulf to the Caribbean, out into the tropical Atlantic. Here in the Gulf of Mexico, it doesn't get much quieter. Caribbean too. We do have an upper low in this area, and on the south side of it there's some westerlies through here, which is not a favorable scenario for tropical development. We have, by the way, seen some thunderstorm activity. We've had it in Puerto Rico recently. That's helped out the drought situation. A few afternoon storms will be back today. How about the tropical South Atlantic? Well, here's a wave out there, but again, even though there's a bit of a flare-up, no intensification expected in the near future, and a fairly impressive tropical wave exiting the African continent. And this, again, a different perspective on this wave. It is, we'll watch it, but it does not appear like there's going to be any organization in the near future. And the southeast Pacific out here, very quiet because of upper westerlies coming in through this region, the subtropical jet stream. So although, again, the thunderstorms are intense, nothing shows any signs of getting its act together here in the southeast Pacific. Mid-Pacific, Hawaiian Islands in great shape, but in the western Pacific we have Typhoon Rosie, which is probably just about ready to make landfall in southern Japan. 80-mile-an-hour winds, 80-knot winds, I believe, with it, maximum sustained winds. So those winds will likely produce damage, but another aspect of the storm will be the tremendous rainfall in the mountainous areas of Japan, which could very well create significant flooding problems. And you may be reading about that in the news the next couple of days.